So first, before starting today, we'll start about the framework. What do you mean by framework actually? Framework, as of now, you guys understand, is the basically structural way of converting your manual test cases into automation test cases. Is basically some structure we are following, converting our manual test cases into automation test cases, that we call as a framework. So there are so many different frameworks. So before writing for the framework, you should know your test requirement, test environment requirement. You should know about your project exactly how, when I'm converting one single manual test cases into automation test cases, you should consider how many test environment I have to test. This test environment you should know, and like whether our application is supporting non-functional requirement also. Sometimes you know, accessibility also you should know where sometimes. So whether you are supporting like localization, internalization, you should consider in that also. Exactly, you should know basic test environment and basic requirement of your project while writing any what do you call, converting a manual test case in the automation, so that we can write a better framework. Before writing framework, you should consider these all things consideration actually. How many test environment, like how many browsers, if it is a web application, how many browsers I am supporting, or different operating systems, these things, you know. And if you're different language also you are supporting, how many languages you are supporting, whether what to call, Spanish, English, German, Russian, to call Japanese, how many languages, you should know these things also. So based on this overall consideration, you can write a framework. So there are so many different framework. The one is a linear framework. Linear framework, what it means, basically it is a record and play. It is a linear or sequential they will call. So in real, if you go to Selenium Eclipse IDE, there is a record and playback. First version of a Selenium IDE is that is record and playback. Just you have to record and you can keep playback, repeating just a little bit modification on the structure. So this is a record and playback framework they call. So this framework doesn't suit in a real time most of the time exactly. This is one framework they call. One more framework is the data driven framework. Data driven framework, what it means, we are deriving the data from external sources exactly. Either you can retrieve the data from Excel sheet, or read and write the data from Excel sheet or Notepad or JSON file or any SQL database. So we are retrieving the data from any external source. So the, and those retrieved data we are using our test cases as an input. So these kind of a frame, some whenever there is a dependency in uh, uh, data too much, that's people what they call they will write a data driven framework. They will write a they can retrieve data from any external sources. So that's the reason they will call it a data driven framework. One is again module framework, they will call module framework. What do it mean by module framework? They'll what will they divide the framework into module wise, feature wise. They will, for example, assume that there is a login page, so they will make a one functions or one module for a login. So whenever they wanted to execute, they will use that login module framework. Or they wanted to assume that there is a logout application, whenever they wanted to log out, or some integrations wanted to test, they will write here how they will what to call, describe the, not describe, mm, design the test cases in a such a way that in a module wise. So that's the reason they will call as module framework. And there is a other framework called a keyword driven framework, test driven framework, and uh, behavior driven framework. So I will give just theory little bit, even I don't know about these full details. Keyword driven framework, how it will be there, there is a set table will be there, there is some keyword they will define. Based on that, those keywords, some test cases will be executed. That will called as a keyword driven framework. And one more is a test driven TTD, they will call test driven framework. Test driven framework means they will here they will write one test cases, then execute based on the test case. They will call a test driven framework. And behavior driven framework, this is a simple what you call English language statement. They will write given, when, and then, like English user, for example, given, for example, user want, you have a user credential, you wanted to log in, so then what should action happen, then what will be the accepted result, like that, given, when, and then. Behavior driven framework. Then next we'll come to the hybrid framework. What hybrid framework is a combination of any these framework they will call as a hybrid framework. It is combination of data driven, linear driven, keyword, or combination of two frameworks they will call as a hybrid framework. These are a different type of a framework. So now whichever we are writing a framework will call as a hybrid framework, which is a combination of data driven we write, then plus TestNG, then plus page object model. Page object model. This is page object model is a framework again. Now we'll write how it is a page object model. Page object model. So what it means, right? Page object model. Here everything. So assume that this is a Flipkart page. How they will derive here, everything is a considered as a page object. For example, here this is a login button, become seller, more. These are all are web element. Everything will be considered as a page object. So one page they will write one page. So whatever is in that particular page, assume that this is a landing page. So whatever in this top offer, grocery, mobile, everything they will consider as a objects, exactly web element as an object. So these entire thing will be right, they will identify the web element, the entire thing they will write in a one class, that is page of one class. All the web element they will write in a one class. Then next they will create a one more class, one more class. There what they will do, right, whatever the web element identified here, they will perform actions in that particular class. For example, if you want, they identify the login, now they wanted to click on, so they will create a one class. First they will called as a page object, so they will write a web element there. I will show you exactly one. Yeah, this is the best option. So yeah, one first what they will do, right, they will create one object class. So they will write all the web element present in that particular web page. As I told, right, this assume that this is a landing page or home page. So they will write whatever the web element present in the everything, they consider it as object or object repository. After that they will write one more class. Sorry, one more class that they called it as a functional class. In that functional class, what they will do, whatever the web element present here, right, they will extend these web element and perform the actions in that particular web element. Some people what they will write two classes, some people write in single class, they will write object here only, and again whatever the actions wanted to perform in that particular web element, they will write in this class only, Java class only. So it depends on person to person how they wanted to write a uh, uh, page object model. It depends on exactly. So there is no standard rule. Some people create a two more classes, some people will create a three classes. It depends on person to person. So now once we create what to call actions in that particular, then we will call these actions in a sequential way. They will create one more class called a test class for each object, test class for each object, whatever the actions you wanted to perform. After performing actions on that particular web element, you have to call the test case in structural way, right? So they will call those in a structural way. This is a page object pattern. Actually, this is a page object process, or you would call as a what you call process. So in page object, if somebody asks me what is a page object model means, page, they will have for each page they will create a one object class. The one is a actions class, one is a test class. Object class will write all the web element present in that particular web page. In actions class, we will perform the actions for each page, whatever actions you wanted to perform, like send keys, click, or get text, whatever. Then test class, we will call those actions in a structural way, how the test case is supposed to be executed. Any doubt what it means by page object model?
No.
Yep. Now we written this is a page object model. So in order to achieve this page object model, how we have to achieve this one exactly? So this I will explain the structure first. Now you know, right, what is a page object model? So in order to achieve page object model, there is a Selenium provide what you call uh, one more page factory method. Actually, through this page factory, it is a page object model is a design pattern. Actually, design pattern, what it means, I will tell you in generic way. Design pattern is basically ready-made solution provided for a simple it is basically ready-made solutions for a repetitive task. Actually, this design pattern, just a ready-made solution, we can assume that as of now. Design pattern is a ready-made solution for a complex task as well as a simple task or a repetitive task. Actually, somebody is created some pattern, then provided ready-made solution so that you can use of that ready-made solution in a in your project. That is a design pattern. Now we achieve in page object model. So in order to achieve page object model, there's a Selenium provides one more method called a page factory. Actually, through page factory, we can achieve this page object model pattern. If you remember how we can achieve this, whatever I explained, that this process, right? Page object model. In order to achieve, we have to make use of the page factory method. Actually, through page factory method, we can achieve this page object design pattern. So now we will write on a framework. This is a structure of a framework. This is a project name. One will source main Java. You understood this first architecture. Same thing will be implemented there exactly. So base will create one base package. So base package, what it will do, will create two classes. Assume that one is a setup page setup class. One is in page setup class. What you, for example, if you wanted to, your project support a different browser. You wanted to execute in all browser, Firefox, Chrome, Edge, then Safari, Opera. You wanted to. So you will create one base class where we wanted to launch all the driver whichever supported. Then we wanted, we will create one system config file where we wanted to read from sort of call which driver you wanted to execute, what is the username and URL you wanted to pass. We'll write in this, will create one base package. We'll write two classes. One is a property file, one is a page setup class. So here we'll read everything over a basic environment setup. You can do here a base package. As I told, and again we'll create one more object package. So in object package, we'll write a object or web element of each page. We'll create one more class, then we'll write all the web element present for that particular class. We'll write down here. Then we create one more package called functional package. Here we write all the actions, whatever the actions you wanted to perform for each page web element or each page object. So we can write here. Then we'll create one more for resource file or generic file. So here, if you wanted to read a test data or you wanted to create a driver files, generic files, if you integrate wanted to what to call extend report, any generic files if you wanted to use in your project, you create one more resource file or generic files. You can write all the class files in this here. Now come to the source test cases. This is a test. We'll create one test package. Then we'll create a test classes for each page object. Then we'll execute the test cases in a sequential, not sequence, execute it whatever the test case you wanted to for that particular each page in this test cases class. Any doubt here? So this is a page by using a Maven project. Why we are this is a Maven structure. This is basically whatever I'm telling, right? What is why we are using Maven structure? So Maven. So if you remember, we are adding build jar files, TestNG jar file, everything. So whenever there is an update in a jar file, our test cases will fail. So in order to handle these scenario, Maven will take care of everything. Yep. Yeah. Maven is a build. I will tell you. Maven is a continuous something. I will tell you exactly. Project management or build a project tool exactly it is. So it will help you to execute your project. This is so you whenever you, this is basically project build tool. You can assume that as of now software, it can manage your project or whenever you wanted to execution code repository, the you wanted to execute it. How can I explain you exactly? Project management, you can assume that this one exactly. So whatever they assume that this is one project, so you created, you wanted to maintain this project through, you can execute with the Maven. The advantages of Maven I will tell you. So, see, I created. So if you remember, will show you. So if earlier, will show one. See, if you remember earlier, we are going and adding this jar files here. This is also so can you guys go? Can you guys say earlier whenever we wanted to execute independent test cases, we are going adding this client jar file and this server file also. Assume that there is a update in this jar file. So when you run your project, it won't work exactly. You will get give an error saying that there is update in a jar file. So whatever you have a lower version, so you need to update like this. You will get error. So if you integrate your project with a Maven, so you add a jar file this that whatever if you update here something happen, main will take care of automatically. No need to bother about this jar file Java clients and server files. This will take care exactly. I hope you are clear, Memon.
Yes.
Yep.
Thanks.
So this I will take this Maven after this class. Exactly why Maven? There is a build life cycle. It will follow exactly how it will happen. Build project build life cycle. That I will take in another class if possible at the end. Now I created a one what you call a class. How we can create, right? Go here, file, new project. You go here project. You can select Maven project here. Direct you can create a Maven project also, or you can create if your project you can create a normal project also. I will tell you at the end how we can convert a normal project into the Maven project. Assume that this is a normal project you have created. Leave this. So assume that you have created a normal project. So you wanted to convert to Maven. How you have to go here, right? There will be an option called configure. Right click a project, configure. Can you see here? Convert to Maven project. If you don't have you created normal project, convert to Maven project. So if you click next, it will generate one POM XML file like this. POM XML file it will generate. So the once you converted, you have to add a jar file in this POM XML file, which compiler you wanted to use. Everything we need to add. Assume that I will show here. I've added somewhere. Like yeah, see, can you see I've added, if you remember, I showed dependency, like you have to add this dependency, Selenium dependency, client dependency, jar file dependency server. Then driver also, if you wanted to add a driver for Chrome, Firefox, driver versions, whichever you are using, latest version, it will take care of everything. Here, same thing I added here. So that is the advantage of a Maven exactly. How you can convert to Maven project, now I will show how we can create a new Maven project. So go to here, file, new project, next Maven project. So you will create a next. It will come so many project here. It will you can select the Maven simple basic simple project. You can select exactly. I will show you. Just a minute. Yep. If you select org.up, I will show you some basic archetype. Yeah, you can select this also actually, quick start, or one more is basic archetype project also you can select. I will give exactly which you can select exactly if you don't know how to, whenever you wanted to start Maven project. Architect type, simple basic architect type, you can select anything exactly. I will give exact which you can select. So you can select this one also. One more it will there, simple archi kickstart. I'm not getting this name. Yeah, I will give this exact which you can select this if you, whenever you wanted to create this project. So as of now I will select this quick architect. So once you select now, this structure will get automatically created. So source for one is one will come source, one will come for a server. This structure automatically will come. So I will create as of now that quick start. Just a minute. So you have to give here a package name and like com.testing, not like this. Artifact ID also you have to give. Like you can like this package name should be com.testing, like you have to give. How will people, like for example if you are working for your company, like uh, com dot your company name, then project name you can give exactly. For example if you are what to go working for Nokia, you can write a com dot Nokia dot then your project name people will write like that exactly, like this. Then if you click on finish, then yeah, like this package name will come as, so you make sure that you write as a where I written as a group name exists. So now here came only as a source. Can you see here the rk, this will automatically come this structure actually. So this maven structure automatically come. So I will give you exact that which project name you have to select. Tomorrow or day after tomorrow I will give exactly. So once you created,
Rathnikan, is it possible to use Maven for Python? Maven with Python.
sorry.
Can I use Maven for Python?
Yeah, you can use for main for anything, whether you can use for Java, Python. So when you, if you Eclipse or whichever IDE is using, you can integrate easily Maven there, install Maven in your application. So whichever IDE is you're using here, it will come as a configuration. Here it will come as a configuration. You can use anything exactly Maven. Then you can use for Maven anything.
And
Python
another
also.
question, is it possible to use TestNG with Python, or is there anything that
No, yeah, you can
any
use a
difference?
TestNG with Python also. You can use actually TestNG with Python Maven. This framework you can write in Python also. I will tell you exactly. Now I will tell you one by one exactly. You can write in same Python also. And I'm written in Java. Wherever I written, you can make use of the Python. The structure will be same. The coding will be different exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Structure will be same. Which you are using Eclipse IDE only, or IDE
Eclipse.
user? Eclipse only means you can easily integrate, write Python also. Same thing. Structure will, if you even though you create Python project, right? Everything it will come same here exactly. Normal project means first you convert to Maven project you can use. It is already Maven there. So if it is there, see if it is there, if you normal project you have created, convert to Maven project, then jar file. I will tell you exactly this jar files exactly how we can add everything later onwards.
Okay,
Yep.
thanks.
So now if you now please compare this with this one. I have created same thing exactly. Now once you created, first I will tell you, we'll create a one property file. So now I will write on property file. Now I created a folder. Once you create, right click here, then new, create a folder. Then you can write on folder name in this whichever project you are using, test framework project only. If you are using, you can select this one only. Then folder name you can write. So like system config, right? You can create, then finish. So it will create on config folder file like this. Now I'm deleting for your showing purpose only. I'm creating, not record. Once you create config file, now again you right click in this project, then you go to new, create a config file exactly. Can you see here? You create a one file, then give a extension as a system.config here. After config dot property extension you give a name, whichever name you want. So this is a system configuration file. Why have you given system configuration file means here we are passing username, password, URL, everything. So you can give a system dot property file you can give at the end. So once you create like this, finish, the system property file will created here. So after creating property file, so what are the things we are passing in a property file? So you assume that what are the generic required. So you need a browser. It is a generic for sometimes I wanted to execute on different browser. So username and password also it may change, and URL also it may change. So you assume that what are the test environment variable required, it will change not dynamically, or yeah, whenever you wanted to change environment variable, it will keep changing frequently. Those things you write in system config file. So how you have to write, right? This is once you create first you have to, it is a basis of a key and value. This is key pair value. This will be treated as a key, this will be treated as a value. So you have to write like this only. So for example, browser, then whichever browser you wanted to write, Firefox. So like this you have to write. If you give hash, it will treat it as a comment actually. It is like this. So now you write all the test environment variable here exactly. URL, username, password, browser, whichever you feel this environment variable required for test execution, you write all those things here. So now I have written everything here. Browser I have written, URL, username and password. Now you written, right, config file. You have to read this system config file, right? So now what I will do, I will read on system config file. I will create a one read property file. I will like again go here, right click, new, first you create on, I will create one package for your understanding purpose only. Com dot read. I will create first how you create, just I will show you exactly everywhere you have to create like this. Com dot read test I will create like this. Can you see after creating package you create one class read test file or read system config file. You make sure that naming convention you should follow before writing a framework, exactly how uh, read system config file. So like this you can create. Can you see now it got created like this it will come. Once you create a package, first you always create a package, then create a class name, like this it will come. Now you can do whatever you wanted to do here. Now you know, right, how to create package. First after creating a project, you click on right click new, first you create a package. Once you created package, it will come like this. Then select this particular package, go to new, then create a class. Once you create a class with name, it will come like this, whichever name you provided. Any doubt here till?
No, but I have one doubt of that bin folder. What should we use? That bin?
This will automatically will come. No need to use exactly. When you created a Maven simple structure project, now this will come automatically exactly this bin folder.
And that target folder also comes
Uh,
automatically.
yeah, this also it will come automatically. Here this test output file also it will come automatically when you run TestNG, right? You as of now,
Only, we did only system config
yeah,
folder.
just I have created only system config file. This target when you run
Okay.
Maven as it will come by default. This bin target test output when you run TestNG file, this test output. If you remember in TestNG class, we went and see that test output result exactly. If you see here,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you.
TestNG report will save here test output file. I have created only the system config file as of now. Nothing I have created here. Any doubt? I will tomorrow. I will give exact which you can use that creating or general that. Yep. Now we created a system config file. Now we wanted to these whatever it is there. As I told her, this is a key and this is pair value. We will read this file exactly system config file. So I'll created on read system config file on class I created. I will where read property file. This not required. I will delete this one. Okay, it's okay. You will delete later on. So I will create on a read property file. So in order to read property file, how you have to write? There is a what to call properties method is provided by Java. So you have to right click exactly. So you have to write like this. So, private properties. This is a method. We are creating object of that properties file. That's it here. I'll show you. private properties. This is a Java method. Just if you type here, can you see here? Properties, it will come. Properties. Then prop one a reference variable, whichever you want. You give new. Then properties. We are creating a method first. Can you see here? Java util package properties. Now we created this method. And this is a file input stream. So, you know, if you wanted to uh, you wanted to read a file, so there is again Java provide a file input stream. Exactly, again there is a one more method, file input stream. Can you see here also? If you write here also, it will come here. Input, can you see here? Input stream. File input directly you can write stream. See, Java this is input and output file. Exactly, so whenever you wanted to read a file, so you can make use of this file input stream method. So now I created this, what to call, property file. So what I'm doing, right, file input stream, I'm giving a from where you have to read this one path of the file. If you see here, how you can go to properties, you can copy this path exactly from where you wanted to read, or you can copy this path also. Both will work. This is a absolute path, this is a relative path. So I will prefer you use a absolute path also. If it's not working, you can use a relative path. So absolute path, even though how it will help you, right? Other team member also using that time, it will there no need to change here. Exactly, here no need to see user document. This also will tell you exactly how we can make customization of this also. I am using here absolute path. You have to give this path file. Then you take this on reference variable, and you are loading this file exactly. If you see, I created one input taken reference, new file input stream. This is basically reading for property file. Then I'm loading this one. Now it will read. Now file is we bought file into this input stream. Now if you are told, I told you, right, this is a key and pair value. So how you have to first you write one method. I will show you exactly. Now you wanted to read the URL, so you can write like public string. If you remember, this is string, public string get URL or read URL. You can write whichever method you comfortable. Read, you are reading, right? You are reading or getting URL, get URL. So this is one method. Now it requires something return type. If you see rename method or get URL, or it's already there. So I will make you one get URL. So can you see it add a return statement, or because if it is a wide, it not required. So it is a string. So we are return prop dot get property. So get property, what it will do, right? I will tell you. If you, this will read the value based on the key. How, if you see system config, this is a read, this is a key. I told you, right, this system how it will show, this is a key and value. This will read the value based on the key, that read property file. Here it is there, sorry. See, what I did it, prop get property. If you do get, you will get inbuilt method only directly. Sorry, prop dot get property. Can you see here, if it is, it's expecting string as a value. So basically it will read the value based on the key. So okay, then you mentioned the key. What is your key? Well, my key is this one. If I mention browser, it will read a Chrome. If I mention URL, it will read as a enter string. If I mention username, it will read a password. So I'm reading all the keys based on the value present in that system config file. I have to read everything, right? Browser, URL, username, password. So I'm reading one by one here. If you see here, now I'm get a URL. I'm getting property dot get URL. This is my key. URL is a key. Then it will get this value. I have written URL. Now I wanted to read a browser. Which browser I want? There are different. I wanted to pass Chrome, whichever browser. So I'm reading browser also. Now I wanted to read a username. Sorry.
Pratikant?
Yeah.
That prop dot get property. What
Yeah.
is that? This is method name, or what is it?
Uh, yeah, this if
Return prop dot get
prop, if you
property.
say property file in order to read, I created on reference variable prop first. Okay, we'll join
Okay.
this same class again only. Exactly, I think it is a less than 1 minute. You can please join same class. So in order to read property files, Java provide one property method exactly. So you can directly read by using this class, property class. Property, create a reference variable, create object of this one. If you remember how to read, I told you, right? For again, you can make use of a file input stream. So you are